Welcome in, whiskey freaks, to the Blind Tasting Podcast, your number one attitudinal bourbon destination. I'm your host, John Stark, and as always, I'm going to be bringing you whiskey news and opinions and reviews on the industry and the products they've been bringing us for hundreds of years. So, if you've not been living under a rock, you've heard the news. Really big, large news about our good friend Rosie O'Donnell. So yeah, Rosie O'Donnell. She left the United States a while back, like totally left. She took her kid and she flew out to the Emerald Isle of Ireland because, in her words, Trump. Yeah, look, she's got strong political views. I get it. I have strong views too. I totally understand. But what she figured, and she figured wrong, she thought that Ireland's whiskey would fix everything. The castles, all the rain, maybe even a pot of gold. But then she realized, it came to her, the good stuff, the best bourbon and whiskey is actually found in Bardstown, Kentucky. So guess what, kids? Now, like right now, probably today, Rosie's heading straight for Bardstown, Kentucky. It's true. Yeah, reportedly, my very reliable, unreliable sources that I personally verified, they say she's coming back from the Emerald Isle to settle in the Bluegrass State, specifically in Bardstown. So cheers, Bardstown. You're about to get a visitor with a really big mouth and an even bigger love for bourbon. But yeah, no. Rosie's keeping her rump right there in Dublin, kids. So you're safe in Bardstown. At least for now, anyway. So welcome in, kids. I got a big show today. Today, the episode is chock full of essential vitamins, minerals, and most importantly, bourbony goodness. And don't worry, I checked with the Surgeon General, and it turns out bourbon is part of the food pyramid, if you close one eye and squint hard enough. I've got all kinds of things to throw your way today, and we might, I said we might, just learn something while we're at it. Okay. And before I get started, I need to say something. I've got questions, not from me to myself, but from you guys to me. You want to know why I open the show the way I do? Well, I do it for a couple reasons. And if you listen to this podcast, you know there's almost always reasons for what I do. First, it's my terrible attempt at humor. Yeah, so there's that. And honestly, I just don't want to take anything all that seriously. I mean, have you seen inflation? Oh, wait, that's right. There's no inflation now. That's right. No inflation, so don't look there. But what about your electric bill? Have you looked at your electric bill lately? Yeah, that's real. That's serious, right? Look, there's too many damn annoying, terrible, and otherwise serious things going on now. So my goal, among other things, is to lighten the mood. Okay, unless I get on some crazy rant, but you get my point, right? Let's lean back, let's grab a pour, and let the mind wander for 30 or 40 minutes. Let's chill out and possibly, I said possibly, even learn something together. I've got bourbon bolos today. Be on the lookout for these new releases from our good friends at Heaven Hill and the James Beam Distilling Company. I've got some bad news out of Lebanon, Kentucky. And no, it's not about another roundabout or Rosie O'Donnell, I swear. And if they add one more of those damn stupid roundabouts, I'm buying a bulldozer and I'm wrecking the freaking thing. Look, am I the only one that feels that way? Okay, but yet they keep building them, right? And then we talk about none other than Buffalo Trace, because we always have to talk about Buffalo Trace. But this time, we're going to talk about them hitching up the team and bringing the wagon to a town near you. I'll have details to follow. And finally, I review Booker's Straight Bourbon Whiskey Batch 2025-02, a.k.a. By the Pond. And speaking of ponds and Ireland and questionable food choices, Taco Bell, this is breaking news, guys. Taco Bell just opened their very first location in Ireland. That's right. Ireland now has access to the Crunchwrap Supreme, which is just one more reason for Rosie to keep her happy little self across the pond. Can you say Diablo sauce, boys and girls? But seriously, Taco Bell in Ireland? I can't decide if that's progress or punishment for those guys. Like, did the Irish government lose a bet or something? Look, this is news you can use, kids. You're welcome. So here's the deal. I've got some bourbon bolos today. Heaven Hill is back with the 2025 edition of the Grain to Glass Wheated Bourbon. And this one's all about showing off exactly where your whiskey comes from. Like literally seed to bottle in Nelson County, Kentucky. Now, this edition of Grain to Glass tweaks the usual wheated mash bill with a little extra love for the secondary grains. It's got 52% corn, a whopping 35% wheat, and 13% malted barley. And the corn, it's Beck's 6225, grown by the family-run Peterson Farms. And that's because Heaven Hill is doubling down on local, carefully chosen grain. It's aged 6 years at the Cox's Creek Rickhouse. It's bottled at barrel proof 106.6, which is nice. And it's non-chill filtered, which is also amazing. The bourbon is pure, they say, uncut, and unapologetically wheat. Okay, well, it's actually mostly corn. But anyway, master distiller Connor O'Driscoll calls it a full story bourbon. And he's not kidding, they say. Every step from seed selection to bottling is highlighted on the label, which even celebrates Kentucky's farming traditions. Now, the sad part is it only comes in at a 700 milliliter bottle. Wah, 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 right? They've kind of got our expectations down, though, by now by continuing to use these 700 milliliter bottles. So it's not really a shock, right? And you're thinking, Stark, it's like only 50 milliliters. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm doing math and it's 50 milliliters and the price is the same. So we get 7% less and then we pay, the same. Anyway, these bottles are hitting stores at $99.99. And that's what they were. I believe they were that last year. And you can find them almost anywhere. And the cool part about this one is a portion of the proceeds goes to farm rescue, and it's been helping farm families in crisis for 20 years. So you get a bourbon that's honest and probably pretty hefty, and at least it seems to be helping a good cause. So even if it is just a 700 milliliter bottle. They say it's for collectors, enthusiasts, or anyone who likes knowing exactly where their whiskey comes from, and that's me for sure, guys. The Grain to Glass series continues to set a high bar. Heaven Hill is reminding us that transparency isn't just for fancy cocktails. It can be delicious too. And I agree wholeheartedly with them. Enough with the hiding of mash bills and what's in what barrel, all that crap. This is a great job by Heaven Hill. Thank you, good folks at Heaven Hill. And our good buddies at Jim Beam Distillery, they have a special treat for us whiskey freaks. Booker's Bourbon has decided to play in the tequila sandbox.
Say what?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. It's their 2025 release of The Reserves, and this is the first ever Beam whiskey finished in tequila barrels. Now, the youngest bourbon in this blend clocks in at 8 years, 10 months, and 11 days, and that's fancy math for it's older than your average Booker's batch. And it's bottled uncut and unfiltered at a fantastic 123.3 proof. They say the tequila barrels themselves have a storied past, because doesn't everything have a storied past, right? They first held whiskey from Booker's 30th anniversary release. Then they traveled to, this is crazy. Then they traveled to Jalisco, that's in Mexico, to age El Tesoro Tequila's 85th anniversary edition. And finally, they came back to Kentucky. So, where the hell, right? Where is Jalisco? So I looked it up. Jalisco obviously is a place in Mexico, but it's along the Pacific coast, meaning really nothing to no one. But I was just curious, so I looked it up. And this barrel evidently has a lot of frequent flyer miles. Flavor-wise, they say expect the usual Booker's boldness with caramel, vanilla, oak, and baking spice, but with a new layer of agave and black pepper from its tequila adventures. It's limited to about 20,000 bottles, guys, so really not very limited, but in the grand scheme of things. But that does feel lower than a regular Booker's release. The Reserves 2025, they say, continues the annual series that started last year, giving fans something extra aged, extra bold, and extra unique. They say Booker's reminds us once again they don't do safe, and they do hell yeah, and that's probably what Booker would do, right? Anyway, never met the man, but I've read the book by Fred No, and it sounds just like Booker. If you want to read that book by Fred No, you should, and it's called Beam, Straight Up, the Bold Story of the First Family of Bourbon. And speaking of books, I've got a new book. Yeah, it's true. It's called Whiskey Wisdom and Bourbon BS, Barrel Strength Legends, Lies, and Untold Tales. And no, it's not just one story. It's dozens of stories, actually over 40 stories. Weird, wild historical truths. Some of it may be true. Some of it absolutely true. Some of it ridiculous. Look, I spent way too many hours researching, writing, rewriting, arguing with myself about it. And yes, a questionable amount of bourbon was consumed in that process. Inside this magical little Kindle book, which, by the way, is available right now on Amazon, you'll find bourbon truths, folklore, stories about outlaw distillers, shady marketing schemes, whiskey-fueled inventions, and the kind of whiskey facts that sound made up because some of them just might be. Guys, I pulled this stuff from the weirdest corners of whiskey history. And the coolest part is, each chapter in the book ends with one simple question. Is it whiskey wisdom or is it BS? And you get to be the judge. Now, personally, I think it's best enjoyed with the pour you're about to keep or collect. Either way, there's no judgment here, kids. Just stories, sips, and a whole lot of whiskey-fueled fun. And the best part is, it's cheap. Yeah, I figure, why charge a ridiculous amount for it, right? This book's been a labor of love for me, and I had a blast cranking this thing out. But don't get me wrong. There were plenty of gnashing of teeth, there were headaches, and even a good amount of laughs putting this book together, too. Anyway, go grab a copy. It's on Kindle over at Amazon.com. You'll find the link in the show notes, as always, or just search my name on Amazon, John Stark, S-T-A-R-C-K, spell that right. Or you can search by the book title, Whiskey Wisdom and Bourbon BS, Barrel Strength Legends, Lies, and Untold Tales. Guys, it's just $10. That's it. For the price of one bad pour at an airport bar or a whole crappy bottle of Benchmark Old No. 8, which you'll get absolutely zero enjoyment out of, you get a whole damn book full of whiskey chaos. It's my kind of chaos, guys. And hey, if you grab a copy today, there's a chance my wife won't leave me, and I might just get to keep making more podcast episodes for all y'all whiskey freaks. It's a win-win, right? Whiskey Wisdom and Bourbon BS, Barrel Strength Legends, Lies, and Untold Tales. Operators are standing by. The operators are not standing by, but Amazon will take your money. And no, I forgot to say, you can read the book on your Kindle device, and there are other ways to read it without a Kindle. I get so many messages from friends, family, and listeners. Oh, I don't have a Kindle. You don't have to have a Kindle. You don't need a Kindle. Let me say that one more time. You can download the Kindle app. It's free off the internet. Al Gore's amazing internet. It's in the Google Play Store. It's in the Apple Store. And once you download the Kindle app, it works on iPhone, iPad, Android phones, tablets, Google devices, or if you have a computer, you can read it on your computer from Amazon. Anyway, log in with your Amazon account, and then boom, your book is going to be right there. Well, it'll be there after you pay for it anyway. So you've got options. There are no excuses, whiskey freaks. Do it now. But seriously, guys, it means a lot to me. And if you do snag the book, here's what I need you to do. I need you to plop down on the patio, light up a cigar, or don't. I'm not your mom. Pour yourself something good, have a few laughs along the way, and hey, who knows? You might, I said you might, even learn something. That's Whiskey Wisdom and Bourbon BS, Barrel Strength Legends, Lies, and Untold Tales. And I know it's annoying when dudes do this all, they seem like they just keep talking and talking and go on and on about their new book. It's aggravating. So in order to avoid this aggravation, just buy the book. Easy peasy, guys. Thanks. So next up, I've really got some bad news. It's actually terrible news for real, guys. Bad news out of bourbon country. Kentucky Cooperage, and it's the big barrel making operation in Lebanon. It's cutting 110 jobs starting October 19th. And the plant is owned by Independent Stave, and that's obviously the company that cranks out barrels for distilleries all over the world. And according to their HR director, the whole plant isn't going to shut down, but the cuts are going to be permanent. Now, this isn't just about one plant or one town. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here, guys, and it's just reality. It's another sign of the slowdown hitting the whiskey world. There's fewer barrels being made, and that means fewer distilleries are placing big orders, which means demand just isn't where it was a couple years ago if we've talked about this ad nauseum. So the bourbon boom doesn't look quite so boomy when you're heading down this road. And let's be real, when the cooperages are hurting, that's serious business. Barrels literally are at the heart of bourbon. And if there's no charred oak, you got no bourbon. So if Independent Stave is trimming back, it's not because people, suddenly forgot about whiskey. It's because the industry is cooling down. What we're seeing here, we're watching this ripple effect of an overheated bourbon market. And for a while, everybody and their cousin was building a distillery. I mean, we can go through that list, right? Finishing bourbon, and I've talked about the crazy finishes, all this craziness, aged in a cave, aged in space, aged in grandma's cellar, all that stuff. Meanwhile, jacking up the prices as if people would never stop buying it. But guess what? People did stop buying it. Inflation, it's real. And shelf space is crowded. So worse yet, and some would say worse, the younger crowd are drinking less of it. And cannabis is getting bigger by the day. So sadly, Kentucky cooperage workers, well, they're paying the price for an industry that flew a little too close to the sun. And this may just be the beginning, guys. Independent Stave has an operation in Lebanon, Missouri, too. So let's keep an eye on this one. There'll be more to come, and I'll let you know. And because apparently we just can't get enough Buffalo Trace in our lives, the folks in Frankfort, Kentucky have decided to take the show on the road. Yeah, Buffalo Distillery on tour, and it kicks off this October, first rolling into St. Louis, then Kansas City, Jacksonville, and Tampa, because nothing says bourbon heritage like sipping Weller Antique under palm trees. So here's the setup. You get 90 minutes of storytelling, history, and then you get 4 pours. Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare 10, which I don't know, Weller Antique 107, and the new Saz Rye 100 proof. It's free, but of course you need a ticket, guys. So it goes live. The tickets went live on September 10th. And if you've ever seen Buffalo Trace bottles vanish from shelves, you already know these tickets are going to vanish faster than that. So I don't know if they have any tickets left, guys. You're going to have to go check it out on Buffalo Trace's website. Oh, and they're even tossing an exclusive city-specific bar where I don't know what that means. Their dates are October 3rd to 6th in St. Louis, October 9th to 12th in Kansas City, October 15th to 18th in Jacksonville, and October 19th to 22nd in Tampa, Florida. There's 10 sessions per city, and they're staggered over 4 days. And yes, they're limited because, of course, they are. So yeah, Buffalo Trace has finally figured out how to bring the pilgrimage to you guys. You don't have to go to Frankfurt. You don't have to go, get your selfie on the bottling line. There'll be no endless debates about whether Blanton's is actually worth it with your tour guide, right? Just 4 pours and a reminder that Buffalo Trace basically owns all of us now. But my big question is, will Freddie Johnson be on this tour? That would be awesome if he was. I couldn't find any more details about the tour, but all kidding aside, guys, it would be very cool. So get out there, go to their website, check it out, and maybe you can get a tour of their pilgrimage. All right, Whiskey Freaks, let's get to the fun part now. This is the fun part for me, especially my review. And today I'm cracking open a bottle of, and I mentioned this at the top of the show, Booker's 2025-02, aka By the Pond. And I'm going to get into the deets real quick here so we can taste this concoction that they've lovingly put together for us. And I hate these. The one thing, I love Jim Beam. I love what they do at the distilling company down there in Claremont. But what I do not love is this blessed wax that they put around the top of the bottle where you have to peel this crap off and it gets everywhere and it gets on the floor and then the cat eats it. All right, so I got this bad boy open. I'll give you the deets real quick. This is the company is Beam Suntory. Obviously, the distillery is Jim Beam. The bottle, it is a typical Booker's bottle. I mean, if you've seen one, you've basically seen them all. It comes in that fancy wooden box where it says Booker's down the side. Very cool. It's a nice touch that very few other than like Blood Oath, they do it. A few other, I think Whistle Pig has some pretty cool boxes out there. But anyway, for $99.99, it comes with a fun wooden box that people end up throwing away. But it does look cool. It's got that acrylic slider on the front. Very beautiful, very nice. It's a nice touch. You can't complain about the way this bottle looks. The age, and as always, The age is clearly stated on this bottle. By the Pond is aged at 7 years, 1 month, and exactly 20 days. And they don't fool around at Jim Beam, guys. If you know me, you know that's good news. I like the way that they tell us what's in there, what they tell us, the mash bill. They tell us all the things. And in just a minute, I'm going to give you a list of all the things, and you're going to have to hold your breath while I do it. But anyway, I think other distilleries could take a page out of Jim Beam's book for transparency. And for those of you with infinity bottles out there, that means being open, honest, and clear with information that's easily visible, available, or understood by others. Transparency. And crazy stupid fun fact, guys, the word transparency was first used in 1591. Yeah. How about that? Those other guys don't give you all that kind of fun stuff, right? This is knowledge. This is book learning, and you're getting it here on Blind Tasting Podcast. You're welcome. So the mash bill, I mentioned that they are very transparent about the mash bill, and it is almost never a mystery with Jim Beam. This one is 77 corn, 13 rye, 10% malted barley. Now today I'm tasting with a Glencairn, my favorite limestone branch Glencairn actually. But hey, you do you. If you want to roll with a rocks glass, a mason jar, or Toby Keith's red solo cup, hey, go for it. Look, I'm not your mom. I'm not here to ground you. Just drink it how you like it. Whatever makes you happy. All right. I've got this poured in my glass. Oh yeah, this was released in May of this year, and although I wanted to grab it at the distillery when we were in Kentucky a few weeks ago, and I mentioned that on a previous episode, the timing, it just didn't work out for me. So luck would have it that my dude down here at the local spot in my town had plenty of it on his end cap. And I've noticed in the last 6 months, you can find Bookers almost everywhere now. And like the newest one is limited to 20,000. I don't know what this one, I didn't find that, what By the Pond was limited to, but I'm seeing it everywhere. And the beautiful thing was, I got it for $99.99, which is the exact same price that they were selling it in Claremont at the gift shop. Okay, so this is going to take me just a minute, so I'm going to need your patience, guys. The card, they always throw a little information card in the box that the bottle comes in, and I'm going to read that to you real quickly. It's going to be boring, but just hang with me, okay? Booker's By the Pond batch is made up of barrels from 7 production dates that were aged in 8 different warehouses. This batch is aged 7 years, 1 month, and 20 days. The proof of the batch is 126.5. The breakdown is as follows. I know you don't really want to know this, but I feel like I have to. 11% came from the 3rd floor of Warehouse J, which is a 9-story warehouse. Okay, I'm not doing this, guys. There are 8 different whiskeys that were blended together to create this one. And this batch was selected during a very wet, this is from the card. This batch was selected during a very wet spring with, let me get my magnifying glass to read this stupid card. This batch was selected during a very wet spring with some record rainfall in Kentucky. We all know about the record rain they got earlier this year. I enjoyed the color of this batch, which looked the same as beautiful horses that will compete in a few weeks for the Kentucky Derby on this first Saturday in May. The nose is very inviting with vanilla and oaky notes that really is pleasing to me. The first taste I put in my mouth was very nice and had a sweetness I enjoyed, so I took a second. The second taste was nice, and the finish complemented and completed the experience so well. I feel sure my dad would have enjoyed sipping By the Pond batch, sitting by the pond, feeding his fish, waiting for them to grow so he could enjoy them with some great Booker's bourbon. And that's Fred No, Beam's family, 7th generation master distiller, talking about his daddy, Booker No. So that is the information. I didn't give it all to you, but when you get the gist, there's 8 different. They've made a concoction here, right? This is kind of what they do. Oh, and the proof point. Did I already mention the proof point? Anyway, it comes in at a magnificent 126.5 proof.
Woo, doggy!
And the color. And I'm going to say this, never judge the color by the bottle alone, and especially in a bottle of Booker's, with the wax up top and the label down low, it is difficult to really get a full idea of what's in this bottle. It looks fantastic, actually, as far as color goes, but you've got to pour it into a glass. The color sometimes gives you an idea of the breadth of flavors you're about to put in your mouth. The only way to judge that is in a Glencairn or a glass, right? It's my opinion that the darker the hue of the whiskey in your glass, the deeper the flavors are going to be. And that's not always true, but it is sometimes, and it is really probably most of the time. So it's worth noting, and I'm going to say it every single time. Well, the color of this whiskey is like a deep, dark amber color. It's very appealing to the eye. So I think we're off to a good start, at least in my mind. So I'm going to give it a little nosing. Yeah, it's beautiful. Not a terrible amount of alcohol or ethanol on the nose. And you're getting the caramel, and the like. Getting like a burnt sugar flavor. And okay, I have smelled some burnt sugar before, so I'm not making this shit up. And no, dear, it's not a negative comment on your baking prowess, but let's just say burnt sugar have been smelled before in my house. Charred oak. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing out of the ordinary here for a Booker's release, guys. But there's also nothing extraordinary. It's, yeah, typical vanilla. Let me get a sip of this. I want to get a taste. I have to do that Kentucky chew to honor Mr. Booker. No. Yeah, it's pretty creamy. For such really, I mean, it really honestly in the world of bourbon is pretty young at 7 years. Getting that typical vanilla note in here, the caramel. But it's really bringing that heat. That 126.5 is like, hey, how's it going? I mean, it's like,
Yo, how you doing?
all right, I gotta get another sip. Okay, yeah, and it's got that cinnamon note you would expect from a bean product. I'm not trying to be stereotypical here, but it does have that cinnamon note in there. There's some solid charred oak in here as well. And that peanuttiness you often get with a bean product. It's here, but it's not overpowering or annoying like some people. Some people often, I hate that the peanut note. It's not like that. It's just a subtle peanuttiness. I like it myself. I do not mind that note. And I should probably mention, again, this stuff is hot. This is hot. I did not get that ethanol and that burn on the nose. Well, they saved it all for your palate. And did I mention the proof point is 126.5? And that's in that typical range for Booker's products. Like Mr. Robinson said, I think the word typical is the word of the day, boys and girls. Can you say typical? Oh, and shit, I forgot the legs. Hang on. I need to quit acting stupid and actually review. This one's got good legs. It really does for something that's 7 years old. As I swirl it around here in my Glencairn, get lots of bubbling and it's sliding down the inside of the glass. I would say it's got above average legs, really. Let me get one more sip. Okay, maybe some nice clove here on the finish and even some tobacco as it slides away. And when I say slides away, what I mean is the heat lasts a good bit as it burns down the pipe. I feel like this high proofer, it's bringing the heat. I cannot sugarcoat the way this is bringing the heat today, guys. So you're probably wondering at this point, what's the verdict? Well, I'll have the answer right after the money spot. Are you looking to update your bar or man cave with some great photographs or wall art? Head over to Etsy at famousdocs.etsy.com and pick up some fantastic prohibition, bourbon, whiskey, and gangster-related photographs and wall art. Okay, guys, you've got to check this stuff out. You can find Al Capone, John Dillinger, Bonnie and Clyde, all kinds of Wild West photos and posters over there. And if you purchase 4 or more items, you'll get 20% off your entire order for a limited time. That's famousdocs.etsy.com. famousdocs.etsy.com. So if you listen to the Blind Tasting Podcast, you know we have 3 verdict options. Are we going to keep it, collect it, or cull it? Keep it means to proudly display it in your liquor cabinet or bar. This stuff's good for a pour anytime, but there's really no need to stock up on it because you can get your hands on it pretty much anytime. Collect it. you're going to want to grab another bottle or maybe two since you find it so damn delicious, or it just may not be easy to obtain. And lastly, cull it. Use it to loosen rusty bolts or sanitize a dirty toilet. In the case of Booker's 2025-02, aka By the Pond, I say, keep it. But here's the deal. This stuff is hot. Like, more hot than it should be. Now, and I've had my fair share of Bookers over the years, and I think my patience has never been great, but I think it's finally run out on Bookers. And you're like, Stark, what do you mean by that? Stop talking in code, my guy. All right, I get it. What I mean is, I love Jim Beam. I love what they do over there. Actually, they're next to, I would say they are probably my favorite distillery at this point. But I think it's finally time. I think it should be done away with, and it should be over. They should retire it out to pasture. I think Booker's should be retired. There, I said it. So, Booker's, right? It's been around for going on like 35 years or so, right? And I mean, look, we've had everything from Jimmy's batch to Mama's batch and everything in between that we could dream up. This iteration of Booker's is good. It's good. But it's no better than most of the rest of them. I mean, it's 8 things, they grab Warehouse J, Warehouse K, LMNOP, all that good stuff, right? But what I'm saying is, every one of these, almost every one, has been some sort of 6 to 7-ish year old whiskey concoction. And they're great. They taste good. I love it. I bought a bottle just a few weeks ago, right? And here we are tasting it. I love it. It's delicious. And many of the others are good too. Okay, I admit they're pretty much all good, but are they that different from any other batches? Look, Booker's has always marketed itself as the uncut, unfiltered, raw bourbon experience. And for a long time, that really was special, right? High proof, big flavors. But now, after buying several recent editions of Booker's, I'm kind of rethinking things. I'm wondering if Booker's hasn't just run its course. Hey, don't come at me, bro. I've got my reasons. I always have my reasons. So hear me out. The first thing I think about Booker's, and the reason I think it should be phased out or sent out to pasture, is, can't we agree that there's a lack of range here? And I mentioned that already, right? Every batch is 6 to 7 years, around 125 proof, with only slight swings in flavor profile. And that consistency, well, that was exciting at first, right? I mean, this was something 35 years ago that was it was huge. It was huge for the industry. It was huge for Jim Beam. Booker was a pioneer. But after a dozen batches or 2 dozen batches or 3 dozen batches, doesn't it start to feel like you're just drinking variations on the same theme? Compare that to something like Four Roses Single Barrel or Wild Turkey's lineup, where you get bigger swings and really, honestly, more surprises. Now, I don't feel this way, but a lot of folks feel that Booker's has priced itself into a tough spot. Okay, I don't think so. I think $99.99, and they kept it again this year, the same price as last year, and so forth. They feel like Booker's has cornered itself into a tough spot. I don't think that. They're saying it used to be one of the best values for barrel-proof bourbon. And I still think it is, actually. They say now it's competing with Elijah Craig barrel-proof, Stag, Rare Breed, all that kind of good stuff, blah, blah, blah. Well, I disagree with that idea. And at $100, this is great. But that's just me. I can see where others would argue the price is too damn high, especially when after all these years, it's kind of the same stuff. And Beam, at this point, they're kind of in a tricky spot, right? Booker, no, he's a legend. Booker's is the brand that carries his name. Killing that brand would probably do more than ruffle a few feathers, which is why I'm a little hesitant to say it today. But I think my point is fair. If the only way they're honoring him is by cranking out the same-ish 7-year high-proof releases, maybe it's time to rethink that. Doesn't Booker deserve better than that now after 35 years? That's just me. I think they should retool. And as much as I hate this phrase, I think they should think outside the box. I hate saying that, but here I am saying it. So what could replace it? Well, imagine if Beam pivoted, which I also hate that word, but I said it. Booker's could evolve into like a rotating experimental line. Different ages, 8 to 12 years, different mash bills, maybe even do some blending projects or finishing casks, right? It could still honor Booker No's reputation as a tinkerer, but it would keep the lineup fresh. It's entirely possible, especially with the older whiskey aging now and sales slumping across the board. It's doable. Spice things up a little bit and shit. Maybe even raise the price slightly. I mean, don't get out of control here, guys. But I really am expecting something different at this point. So yeah, I feel like this is kind of controversial, but I mean, you know what I say on this show. That's why it's Bourbon Whiskey Attitude, right? You're going to get what I really think. I'm going to try to honor the traditions. I'm going to try to be as respectful as I can. But my claims here, my ideas, they're not baseless. If Booker's disappeared tomorrow, people would mourn the name more than the whiskey itself. Because at this point, the experience, it's a bit predictable, guys. Or like I said in my review, typical. Just saying. Last but not least, I got to give a shout out to the farmers, the distillery production guys and gals, the warehouse workers, the bottlers, and the truck drivers. They're the ones that make it happen, guys. So cheers to all of them. Well, that's all I got for today, Whiskey Freaks. Thanks for listening to the Blind Tasting Podcast, your #1 attitudinal bourbon destination.